Hi, everyone. We are here at NAB 2026. I have here with me Jim Bask from Broadfield. Jim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, James. How are you?
Doing really well.
Good.
Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
So Broadfield Distributing is a proud distributor of video production and live streaming equipment. We're happy to have Ikan as one of the products on our line card. And we work with system integrators here at NAB to help build the projects and the quotes and make sure they get the products that they need to support their customers.
That's great. And then your role within Broadfield?
So I am the head of the marketing team at Broadfield. And a lot of what we do is use the equipment and position the equipment so that our integrators know where it fits into their projects. We have a studio built in-house. We're actually using some Ikan lights in that studio. And we produce weekly webinars where we talk to our dealers. We educate them about the exciting new products available in the Pro AV and broadcast space.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So you work through most of your channels, which are dealers and integrators. Among your customers, your channel partners, who would you say are your end customers? Are they traditional broadcasts? Are they corporations, education, government, houses of worship?
All the above.
All the above, yeah.
We actually talk about some of the key segments and verticals in the marketplace. House of worship is a huge opportunity and continues to grow year after year. Education, corporate AV. And then we move to more the broadcast side where we run into news production and sports production. I would say one of the most exciting and fastest growing segments right now is the sports production space, because it's being done not only in the traditional sports broadcast of I have to air the game, but sports are becoming celebrities. The athletes themselves are becoming social media influencers, and they want to create their own voice. I just read an article that LSU is building a full production studio on campus for student athletes to use and to elevate their brand.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that we're going from an age where schools, I think, have had. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is I'm really glad that the schools are empowering these athletes.
Yes.
Right, because schools have gained so much from their athletes and their performances. It's really nice to see LSU and I think they're going to set the example to give back to these students, right, and really equip them for success after college, right? Even if they don't land that big professional contract, I think there's an opportunity for some of these athletes to still have a platform.
Yep.
And to still be able to, have a fan base that will help them on the next phase of their career.
Absolutely. And I think you see the opportunity as the broadcast and production equipment gets better and better, it becomes more accessible to every individual to use. We're running, from a marketing perspective, a studio in-house to promote the products that we sell. I'm not a broadcaster. I never have been a broadcaster. So to have that equipment available to help share the stories is just an independence that is really creating more and more content out there in the world.
So well said, Jim. Something you and I were talking about before we started this podcast session is that neither of us have worked professionally in a broadcast or a video production background before we joined our respective organizations, right? And as we have, for me, it was always, video production was a hobby in high school and college, but I never did it professionally. And for you, it was learning, right? Building the studio inside Broadfield and producing all the content. You've had to learn what it is to be now you are a professional video production person,
Yep.
But you've done that from the scope of being a head of marketing for your organization.
Absolutely. We sell video production gear. So the first aspect of it was we want to drink the Kool-Aid. We want to use the products and show how the products fit into these different workflows. But also, video is a very easy way to share the story, to talk about how a teleprompter will make it easier to do a presentation. I can't read a script as I'm presenting. I've never been trained to do that. But to have a slide up on the teleprompter in front of me to fire the next thought and the next process, just helps the presentation along the way. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of growth and opportunity in the corporate AV space. The keynote addresses are becoming better and better because the materials available to the presenter are becoming better produced.
Yeah, really well said. Corporate AV is definitely a huge growth sector for our company, for yours. And I want to say for a lot of companies being represented here at NAB, right? We all know that traditional broadcast is consolidating, right? You've got some major groups like Nexstar, Tegna, Sinclair, Scripps, and more, either looking at or actively pursuing some level of consolidation. Corporate broadcast is on the other end expanding rapidly, right? COVID has made a lot of folks feel comfortable being in front of a camera, like
Yep.
we are now, and that has allowed corporations to level up their in-house content creation as well as communications, right? Presentations, live communications. We are the only company here at NAB, I believe, that instead of showing a traditional grid system, we are showing a drop ceiling environment with PoE lighting that's low voltage, which means that a lot of our corporate clients that are looking to build a studio, oftentimes they're constrained by their existing infrastructure. They have a limited budget. If that budget, if they have to build a grid and have to add hire electricians and build out an electric grid in their ceiling, that would oftentimes consume their entire budget that they would be willing to allocate for a production studio. And so we've developed products that essentially bypass all of those initial hurdles so that you can directly invest in the lights and the cameras and, like I said, the tripods and prompters, the microphones, and get something started really, really, really fast. Corporate AV is a very exciting endeavor for us, and I'm sure for you as well.
Absolutely.
Where do you see corporate AV? What does corporate AV look like to Broadfield today? And what may it look like in 3 to 5 years?
It's an interesting question because we've seen a lot of the same things that you already spoke to. The corporate AV world and the ability to do AV over IP. Broadfield Distributing has a lot of products on our line card, including the Netgear AV switches, where AV over IP requires nothing but a Cat6 cable. Then when Ikan introduced the PoE lighting, we're like, this fits perfectly into these workflows. And what we've seen in the corporate AV world is the remote work environment and the hybrid work environments have created available real estate where they're taking what was a small to medium-sized office and turning that into a studio where they can share messaging and marketing. That office was never built to be a studio. It didn't have the electricity. It didn't have the wiring. It didn't have the grid structure that you were speaking to. PoE and AV over IP gives them the flexibility to drop a few cables and turn that into something that can be real useful space in the future. And that flexibility is only going to grow exponentially. We're seeing more and more offices being built with that infrastructure, all through a Cat6 pipeline. It's amazing to see those opportunities.
It really is. PoE, AV over IP, that all lends to this idea of an IP workflow. And with IP-based technologies, now we have the possibilities of automation as well as AI augmented automation. Are you seeing any of that? Any kind of, or in the world today, there's a lot of automation that's already happening. Love to hear from you about what are you hearing from some of your customers about what automation looks like to them? And has there been already discussions about AI-enabled, AI-augmented automation?
Absolutely. I think you'll see a lot of that here at NAB.
Yeah.
AI is not just a buzzword anymore. We're seeing those tools implemented all over the place to the point where a teacher can walk into a classroom and their production system will fire up, bring in the camera, auto track them as they give a lecture, and live stream that directly to their classroom whether they're their own location or not. And it's all based on scheduling. The scheduling becomes smarter and smarter and is integrated into these lecture management software tools that allows them to do more and more. And it really makes that content not only available to anyone, anywhere, but produced by anyone, anywhere. You can fire up a classroom in the middle of the Sahara if you wanted to and share and really get some really productive learning tools.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. Earlier this year, I'm sorry, late last year, we did a project with Texas A&M's business school, so the Mays Business School. And what that project involved is with one of our systems integrator channel partners, is building out 13 small studios in existing office rooms to allow the remote lecturer to get in front of broadcast grade lighting, our lights, camera, PTZ camera, a teleprompter system, high quality audio, and be able to do the remote distance learning for their MBA students. And the technology director there, by the name of Jeff Jones, he said, for me, he comes from a production background, and he said, if I expect my students to invest, a sizable chunk of their money in an education, I want to make sure that they are engaged. I want to make sure that they are seeing their lecturers in high quality video, good lighting, good audio. And I want to make sure that the idea of edutainment is an important amalgamation word, right? Because only when we are entertained are we truly engaged. Entertainment can be informative, right? That's what we talked about, infotainment. And education can be informative and entertaining. And for us to even start there, the production quality has to be at a level where there is true dialed in engagement. So I can fully attest in a real world environment to exactly what you're just saying.
Absolutely. And we also have to remember that there is the archiving aspect of it. When you are recording and streaming every lecture, that lecture is now also available as a study tool for those students to refer back to. It's also available to colleagues who want to learn from that presenter and share it with a growing audience. And it will bring more students into the school. It'll better prepare the students in the program to go outside of the program. And I think that's why we're still seeing a constant growth in the space. We're here at the NAB show. In 8 weeks from now, I'll be back in Vegas for InfoComm. And the convergence between the pro AV space and the broadcast space is more apparent than it's ever been. It's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Look forward to seeing you at InfoComm in 2 months' time. We have slowly transitioned into InfoComm to the point where our booth presence at InfoComm is the same as NAB.
It is.
And perhaps in a year or two, we'll have a bigger booth at InfoComm than NAB, right? There's really a shift in that convergence. And it's
Absolutely.
a very exciting shift for both our organizations.
Absolutely. Broadfield Distributing works with so many different system integrators in so many different parts of the industry, where we came traditionally in servicing the broadcast and media entertainment resellers. We're working now with just as many of the AV integrators that are doing the corporate AV conference rooms and the schools and lecture environments that you and I spoke about.
That's so cool, Jim. Well, Jim, it has been such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
I hope you have a wonderful rest of the show. I hope you have a very successful show.
And thank you very much. I hope you do as well. I hope all of our dealers make it by the Ikan booth. There are some great, really exciting products that you're showing off. And even the attention to detail in showing off the lights on the drop ceiling, it really is environments where you can see the stuff up and running for real that I get excited about doing these trade shows.
Well, thank you so much, Jim. Again, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.